Good morning, everyone. How did you like our new introduction? It's not seamless yet, but it may be soon. Welcome to Spirit Sessions, A View of the Light. And this is our September 1st show. And we are just so happy to be here with you all. Please like and share out our show. We're on YouTube, Periscope, and on Facebook Live. And we bring you a multitude of guests from different modalities, bringing it to you to expose you to their modalities, to break it down into everyday language so you can learn and find your tribe. And you're with us, so you're with your tribe already. Please like, share it out, send hearts across the streams. I'm here with my co-hosts, Bax Marie and Teresa Warren. And I'm here also with a very special guest who I just blew. I told Teresa she was going to introduce the show. so I'm sorry, I blew it. Teresa Klan. Teresa Klan, I met just a few months before we went off to our Akashic Academy alchemy class. And she's a fellow Canadian, and she is got such a soft, gentle spirit. And we both learned when we were in Shasta that we're both a Drominans from the plant. So maybe that's why we had this kind of like synergy or sort of like a pull towards each other. She's just one of those people that you would be pulled towards anyways, with her gentleness and her spirit. And we thought we'd have her on because she does a lot of modalities, and she has a really interesting story, and we're just waiting to hear it. So come in, comment, tell us you're here, tell us everything's going great in your lives and where you're coming from. And I'm going to introduce you to Teresa Klan. And Teresa, you can tell us just a little bit about yourself and where you and how you got here, more or less in the spiritual world.
Okay, thank you, Rhonda and Teresa and Bex, for having me on with your beautiful show. And I really like your introduction, so very well done. I thought it seemed just perfect as it is. Yeah, as Rhonda was saying, we met and we did some work together, and I down in Mount Shasta, and that just really helped me step into the fullness of who I am, which means letting go of who I'm not. And that's been a nice pattern for me for my entire life. Before we started, I was asked, how did you know you were different somehow? And while I have many answers to that, of course, we're all different, unique in our own way. But there has been some very interesting experiences. Experiencing, like feeling it, embodying it, knowing it is truth to the core of my being. And if you would indulge me, I would love to share what some of those have been.
Yeah, we'd love to hear it.
Great. Well, the first one occurred when I was in the high chair, and I'm Pisces, born in March. I know it was summertime, so I'm figuring I'm about a year and a half. Okay. And I could still see so clearly the kitchen and the door open and the table and the counter and the stove. And my baby body is sitting in a high chair, and I know I'm just waving a spoon and the goo goo gaga type thing. And my mother's there, my sister is there, and my sister's, friend at the time. And I was keenly aware of their emotions and their inside mental chatter. My mother, for instance, asked my sister's friend, Kella, if she wanted to feed me. And Kella was freaking out, like, oh, what if I, stab her in the eye or something like that. She didn't really want to, put a spoon toward a baby's face. And my mother was thinking, oh, what a lovely mothering moment I'm having here. And her emotions were true and strong. And my sister was there kind of giggling, like, oh, I wonder if something bad's going to happen. I kind of hope it would. And, I'm no judgment. It was just what people experience on the inside that doesn't always translate to what's outside. And this is as clear as a bell. But what makes this even more interesting, because at that age, our brain isn't designed for long term memory, right? We're not evolved enough or have grown enough. What makes this really interesting is I'm not perceiving it from my baby body in the high chair. I'm perceiving it from up there, looking down upon myself.
Oh, weird.
And I'm also aware of my baby body perceiving what was perceiving me. And at the time, I thought, oh, I wonder what that is or who that is. I didn't know that was another aspect of myself. And it felt kind of dense and heavy and serious. And I thought, oh, I don't want anything to do with that. I like being in my flowy baby body. So it took a while for me to know that was actually another aspect of me just checking in. And for some reason, I had the consciousness to perceive that, which opens the door. What is consciousness? With what aspect of ourselves are we perceiving?
Yeah,
Right?
the mere fact that you could kind of get the emotions of all the other people involved means that you had more perception than what an infant would be, and that you remembered them. Like,
And I remembered it.
yeah.
Right? So our memory, for my takeaway, is our memory isn't just hardware in our brain, right? It's in the larger aspect of who we are in spiritual truth, which could very well lend into a potential discussion at some point about things like the Akashic Record and the structure of the soul and everything. So if I can continue further
Sure.
on,
Yeah.
yeah, we were in Gibson's. Our family had property on the beach there, and there was a forest behind us. And we were playing a game called Kick the Can. It's basically a hide and seek game. And so we're basically alone in the woods running to try to find a place to hide while the seeker tries to seek us. And I'm running, and suddenly I become stock still and I can't move a muscle. And it was like, oh, this is weird. And suddenly I perceived, sensed, felt, became aware of this huge beam of light that came down. And it just came down and it was just flooding me, the area. It was all I became aware of, the forest, everything just disappeared. And while I was sharing space, time, whatever, 0 point, I got like a mote, which is a download that takes that long, but your entire life to unpack, right? And I knew within this beam of light that we are all connected, that there's no difference between me and the rock, the tree where I'm sitting now, my table, you three beautiful beings, that we are all connected and we are all one. I also knew if there was anything I wanted or desired, and at that age, maybe an ice cream cone, I knew it would have immediately manifested in my hand. However, I was wanting for absolutely nothing because I was already everything, anyways. It was all there, and I know the universe is loving. and benevolent and light. And I also knew at that tender age that if I could see something or touch something, etc., it wasn't really real. It was like a patina, like a very thin part of the massive reality that is going on out there. There's way more happening than we can perceive within our, limited physical avatars that we're presenting as during our current life. And I knew that I was home.
Wow.
And the light, as I described it, someone mentioned it's like a song lyric, and the light is, as this person said, like 1,000 crystal swans in a sky of suns.
Oh.
And I call that um, color, frequency, tone brilliance with a capital B because it's important to me. And throughout my life, it has come on and spontaneously sort of flooded me. Sometimes when the what hits the fan, something very, very challenging happens. And I know that I am never alone, that in universal truth and reality, which is our true prime reality, that nothing could interfere or muck with us. We can never really be, damaged or feel that trauma. It's like the phoenix child or the eternal child, right? And that was beautiful. And sometimes I use that with clients, say when they're on a table and I maybe doing Reiki or something, and I could feel the brilliance coming through. And I say, oh, there's some higher energies. Would you like it? And they say yes. Now, our wise teacher, Emily Harrison, mentioned that it's like putting Miracle Grow, these are my words, on someone so that if they have wobbles or unresolved issues or whatever, what it does, it makes you more you on all spectrums of who you are. So if you're, unresolved issues, karma, whatever, it can kind of turn the volume up on that. But also the loving, benevolent, peaceful you, it will also turn the volume up on that, right? So when I do the brilliance activations, I tend to turn it down a bit and mix it in with other things like crystals, flowers, just whatever might present itself. Other times, things that have happened for me is bilocating, which is being in two spaces and places physically at the same time. And I didn't even know I was doing it at first. There was a crazy dream, but I won't go into that. But my friends would say, Teresa, you appeared in my room at 2 o'clock in the morning and I was talking to you. But no, my alpha body was sleeping in my bed. Or, oh, you popped in my car as I was driving down the highway and we had a conversation. It was nice to spend time with you. Now, I think what those people have in common is they're, sensitives, like, attuned, whatever, psychic.
I wouldn't freak out and have an accident over that. Like
Right.
I might.
I
Now that I know
know,
you can
right?
do that, if you appear, I'm not going to freak out. I'm just going to say, "Hey, you're here."
So, so one time it happened when I was consciously aware of it, and I was sitting, tea, journal, having fun at nighttime, quiet in my bedroom, just very relaxed. And suddenly I was zoomed out of my body into my parents' backyard in North Vancouver, and I was living on Vancouver Island. Suddenly I was in Lynn Valley in North Vancouver, and I was looking around and oh, the trees, and my feet were bare, so my feet were bare there, and I could feel the moisture on my feet, and I could feel that like the little tree branch was right there, and I was touching that, and I was 100% aware of my Campbell River body, but 100% aware of my Lynn Valley body. And then I started to look around a little bit, like, oh, this is cool. And then I realized, oh, there's a cat that sees me. And it was my sister's cat at the time, this orange fluffy animal. And the cat was walking toward me and looking at me. And it could like, what's that? I kind of see you or not. Then it backed away and walked away. So if anyone's wondering, yes, cats do have the sight, right? And then I started to realize that the shrubberies were different and the house colors were different. So I was actually in two different places and two different times at
Oh,
the same time.
Wow.
And then I came back,
that's
and these sorts of things keep happening. Like I mentioned, a portal opened up in my ceiling about 10 days ago. I was laying there and there was it turned jelly and like heat signature, like the wavy things happening there. And it started to coming down like the quantum field. If you've ever journeyed and gone there, it's like these little mountains and undulating ups and downs and all different dimensions up and down, and that was coming down there. And I put my hands up and they were kind of like disappearing, and it was very real. But I had to check in, is this healthy? Because not all that glitters is gold. You
yeah,
know, don't want to
yeah.
be fooled rushing in or captivated by false light or something like that. And it was good. There was someone there, but I know afterwards it was meant for me, right? And it lasted about an hour.
Nice.
And I'm still unpacking that experience. I think that the bottom line is that my higher self and oversoul are on board with me not only having these very physical experiences, that we are more than our physical bodies, but to share that in whatever way. For instance, in this wonderful platform that you're providing.
Well, those are awesome stories, and it opens up like possibilities to us all, right? It's just like, oh, maybe those things that I don't know if anybody else has ever. Melinda said she's had bilocation experiences, and I don't think she shared that with us before, but that's interesting. Not all who wander are lost, she says, LOL. No, that's so true. Um,
Oh, hi, Melinda. Yeah, I talked to Edgar Mitchell, the retired astronaut, about it once. And he doesn't quite gel with the phraseology like bilocation and that, or overlooking. But he says, well, what you experienced was called a non local event.
well, that sounds more scientific, doesn't it?
Yeah,
A
it does.
non-local event. Well,
That's
that's, I wonder if he's experienced non-local events, if he knew what you were talking about.
Maybe. Well, going up into space and looking down on the Earth, that really changed his perspective on things. And afterwards, he established IONS, the Institute for Noetic Sciences, where they do bridge into things like non-local events and spirituality. And their California campus, in the past at least, has even hosted Monroe Institute events there.
Oh, very cool. So where did you meet him?
I met him at a place called the Prophets Conference that took place in Victoria, British Columbia, where I live. That was probably about 17 years ago. And he was one of the presenters, right? It's sort of
Yeah,
one of
yeah.
those, like, oh my gosh, all these wonderful people are there, like Barbara Mark's husband, Hubbard. Anyways, many, many people.
Here's a question. Do you think it's easier now to be who you are than it was before?
Yes, undoubtedly. When I first tried to talk about these experiences, people just didn't get it. And I don't blame them because I probably wouldn't have either. And I think they also didn't believe me. I remember sharing with one person that I was seen regularly, and then I was like dropped as a friend, right? I think she thought I was a little wackadoodle, and that's totally fine. I get it. It was within her reality frame. She made the best choice for her. So good for her. That's admirable. But now there is so much out there that helps support us, not only finding the languaging, but other people like Melinda said, oh, I've had that experience too. That helps create connections because in my view, I'm having my experience here, but it's because of the grace of everybody here that helps support me in tangible and intangible ways that I don't even realize. It's like we help open the door for other people just by our very existence. And I know there's people out there that are probably helping me on the inner planes and they don't even realize it, right? You know, like our little star families, or the neighbor down the block, or the person who I'm standing in a lineup, and we're just vibing together like two tuning forks without even maybe consciously being together. So yeah.
Building blocks of acceptance, she says, and that's so true. Like how much stronger where we felt at Shasta when we were all together than we had felt before when we were alone. You know.
That's right. And when I came back from Shasta, there's a weekly in-person meditation group here. And I bought my little gifties and shared them with everyone. And we did the meditation, and that Shasta energy was so strong through me. I was thinking, is this okay? And I checked, and they said, oh yeah, like bring it on. And so they got the benefit. They earned the merit to have an experience of being, dipped in that beautiful pool that is Mount Shasta. And they themselves are taking that and like holographically whooshing that into their environments, right? Meeting other people and creating those bridges that help open the doorway to help shake up our neural nets. So maybe, if nothing else, we can look at things a little softer with a little more compassion. Right?
That's such a great way to say it. Well, now this is a perfect segue. I love how you always say, I'm wishing you love. So would you like to do a transmission for us and share some of that wonderful energy our way, our audience's way, and whatever you feel called to do, we're happy to accept. Hey, well, we'll just like sit back here. What do you think, girls?
Absolutely. Yes, please.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for this opportunity. I've done this once on a virtual platform with a group of people, and the best that I could ascertain is people did feel it. So it does translate through this.
Well, we're seeing you, so I'm sure like the energy it's a piece of cake for the energy to move through. I would
Right,
think.
right. So, yeah, and the whooshing love is granted through Pluto Living. It's like a little online Facebook. It's a talking dog that I absolutely adore. So I'm borrowing the phrase whooshing love or kindness or happiness, right? So just a
I
little
love it.
nod out there. Yeah, certainly. So what I probably do is I'll just activate that brilliance energy, and let's mix it with something, okay? Like maybe a certain stone or a certain quality. Is there anything that comes to your mind, ladies, that you would like to have with it?
Teresa Warren, you have something.
Selenite was the first thing that came to my mind, bringing in the selenite energy.
Absolutely.
And of course, I thought of dragons, but,
Yeah, selenite is
sorry.
beautiful. It's wonderful. A lot of people know it. It's a very sheeny stone. It's actually gypsum, where they get gypsum from. But it's totally, so therefore, what's that called? Drywall stuff, right? But it's very
Yeah,
safe.
so we're
Very
actually
light.
surrounded with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Yeah, it's really
Well, this
cool.
is
I never
what
thought
makes
of that.
working with crystals so effective, is that they are already within our bodies, like the building blocks of them, let alone us being part of all our relations on the planet. So we're already primed to interact with crystals. In fact, yesterday I made 3 crystal grids. And if anyone wants to know, when you make grids, make sure they're the same crystalline lattice structure, like orthorhombotic, monoclinic, hexagonal, for instance. And that's the secret sauce to making your grids work. A little bit of research, but wow, do they ever work. Okay, so
Wow.
we're going to do
Cool.
that. So I just,
And Melinda was asking, and Teresa asked for dragons, and Melinda was asking for unicorns. So I don't know if you can bring them both in, but
well, Melinda, you probably know that Diana Cooper would say selenite is the unicorn stone.
Absolutely.
So Melinda, you're right on. Of course, we're going to get some unicorn energy as well, right? Which has been coming through, and we'll see about dragon, okay? But there's enough in the mix right there. So we
yep.
just invite you to get comfortable in your chairs, get on your sit bones, whatever stretching of your fascia you need to do. And as always, if any energies are too strong or powerful, we don't want to create wobbles or miscreations. So you can always envision there's like two taps or spigots underneath your feet, and you can just open them up and let whatever is extraneous just drain out of your bodies, drain out of your field. And when it lands upon the planet within Mother Earth, it will be instantly transmuted to crystal clear, beautiful, ready to reuse, perfect, pristine, recycled energy. Okay, so
Awesome.
that's just like a little safety thing. So the first step is to bring our attention to our hearts and our chest area, breathing in and out of that area in a rhythm that's maybe a little slower and deeper than usual. And find a rhythm that's comfortable and easy for you. Just be in your heart, your portal to your truth. Okay, and just keep breathing like that. You're all fully relaxed. Your shoulders are relaxed. Your hips are relaxed. And your heels and ankles are relaxed. So I'm just going to get to the brilliance. There we are, the brilliance. And may we please add to the mix the selenite energy. Whew, good pick. Yeah, Teresa, there's selenite. And we want to make sure that the unicorns are present. There they are. The unicorns are present. And for those that are interested, and just for those that are interested, oh, and there's the dragons. That's interesting. They're like a sphere around it there. So I'm just allowing these energies to mix with ease and grace. And as I turn my hands toward the screen, this is being sent with love and respect, with the intention that this activation, this transmission will be received at the exact titrated level that is the higher self allowing for the person enjoying this broadcast. Okay, there we go. Oh, I can definitely feel that landing within some people. That's beautiful. You just keep relaxed, breathing in and out of your heart or chest area. Like 1,000 crystal swans in a sky of suns. Okay, I'm getting a little bit of a pushback, so I'm going to slowly start to back off in about 10 seconds. Oh, with love and respect for Creator, for all our teachers, and our own multi-dimensional beings, the transmission is complete.
Oh, beautiful.
Ah,
I'm just going to ask the audience if they have any comments. Please send them out and we'll put them up on the screen. How we found that. How did you find that, Teresa?
I got a symbol. I don't know if I drew it dark enough you guys could see. Whoa,
Down,
down,
bring
down.
it down a little bit.
How's
There
that?
Oh,
you go.
that's awesome.
It's not
oh,
like a money sign. That's just how it looks when I draw it. But my eyes were seeing it more in a 3D, pretty twisted kind of thing.
Wow. Wow.
that's
How about
something that
you,
you could,
Bex?
put your fingers together like that and then
Oh,
draw it in the air and trace it and just to experiment with it. Yeah.
it's really
Very
cool.
cool.
Let's see. You'll have to share that as a picture in the comments when you're done. Oh, Valerie says, thank you, Teresa. Very cool.
Oh, hi,
Very
Valerie.
cool. Valerie says, lovely, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Melinda says, my heart just started singing. My head is still vibrating. Yeah, there was pressure before we started
Yeah.
on my third eye, and that cleared right out. And it's just not like my head's very light, but light in a good way.
Light in a
So
good way. Lovely.
light in
Nice.
a good way, like light in a open way. You know what I
Yes.
mean? So yeah.
Very
Sanisha said, I think Sanisha said merged. I'm not quite sure what, you'll have to expand on that comment, but that's great. Feel like, yeah, light
peaceful.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very
Right.
peaceful. It was a bit like
Beautiful.
I usually see visions and stuff, but this time it was just light. That's all I saw
Yeah,
was light.
that
But I
was me
felt like
too.
so much vibration on the left side of my body. There was a lot of vibration on my body that just melted everything away. Very beautiful.
Beautiful.
Melinda says she thinks her third eye, her unicorn horn is poking out around the third eye. Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
That
I
is
can hardly wait to get
awesome.
together with Melinda. Yeah.
About 20 years ago or longer, I went to England to explore crop circles, and that was when the eclipse was happening in that area. Went to all the high spots. And one thing I learned there, I think would also apply to this, is that what you get is what you bring. So, say, for instance, if someone felt merged or peace or whatever it happens to be, that is just that individual feeling and perceiving what is already there. Because in truth, there's nothing new that came through to you. It's just a remembering. That's why some people say our soul doesn't grow. We just remember who we are. And like Carlos Castaneda's teacher, he talked about it as a like a cord going to creator. And his job as a shaman was to decorrode it and help to facilitate that connection between that person and, creator.
Oh, very cool. Yeah. That's a perfect reminder, Teresa. Melinda, you should just come on and guest host. Well, we'll figure that one out sometime too. So no, that's awesome. No,
Yeah.
it was, yeah. It's hard to always get words back after we get one of
Yeah.
those activations, eh? Yeah, it's hard to get back in. But what we want to ask you, because we're getting near that time, is Teresa, tell us what you offer to other people that are seeking things. Like, what do you offer as a modality? And tell us what's going on. You have some news with conferences and everything else you're doing. So why don't you tell us what's going around?
Right. Well, as people know, or they see on what you put out before, I do have a website, teresaklan.com, and there lists a whole bunch of trainings I had and stuff. And that's, mind you, the trainings are over the decades, right? So it's not like I'm chock-a-block trainings. It's taking them, integrating them, putting them into practice, etc. What most recently lights me up is doing Akashic Records sessions with people, which can be easily done virtually, like through a Zoom link and that. And then we go into your records and we explore what's there together. And sometimes there's activations and things that happen there. There could very well be clearings, right? Because it's not just what's happening in this life, but it's the concurrent alternate lives too, that there could be issues that could have set a pattern up that we're keep re-experiencing. So it's almost like the spinach in the teeth. We don't know it's there until someone helps us, right? And sometimes there's a buffer between us and what we need to learn, as it's put in there as a protective mechanism. And no matter what, we just can't get there without the help of somebody else. And of course, I'm only doing what I'm doing by the grace of other people helping me, teaching me. I'm getting sessions. I'm getting a Reiki one tomorrow. So yay, I'm
Yeah,
very
yeah,
excited
yeah.
about that. With the Akashic Records, I kind of go a little beyond the records at the same time as staying in them. So I'm learning about this within me now. So I'm right now still calling it Akashic Records sessions, but it's like Akashic Records Plus, because things like ascended masters come in and angels that don't typically exist in the records, right? They could be part of the person, but sometimes it seems like it's something brand new to them that they're not consciously aware of. I don't know. I do Reiki and intermediate level acupressure. I'm just finished another HeartMath training for building personal resilience. So that's great. I've had 3.5 years training in herbology. I do lots of tarot reading and tarot card reading and oracle cards. And I also have a store. And speaking of tarot, coming up in about 9 days now, if you want to check out divinationdivine.com, there's an online tarot conference that I was honored to be asked to join. Now, this is put on by a local organizer, Andrea, who is just wonderful. The highest impeccability in every area of her life. So I'm just thrilled to be able to join. And there's workshops and panels. For instance, when I sell decks at events, the most often question I get is, how do I pick a deck? So I've got a workshop on that. Also a workshop on, so now you have your new deck. What do you do with it? Like what the first steps are. And I'm really excited to also be part of a panel on the Fool's Journey. And I'm going to be marrying that with Joseph Campbell's Hero's Journey, because there's a lot of overlap there, and with personal experience there, so people can kind of track it and keep pace with me. And also, I'm going to be doing an Akashic Record experiential, where we're all going to open our records at the same time virtually. And while we're in our records, we're going to be asking, how could I be a better tarot reader? Or what do I need to know about using the cards? So the questions, there's just going to be time for maybe 2 questions or 3 questions for the participants. And then we'll close the records down and all of that totally safely. So that's exciting, right?
Absolutely.
That is exciting. And
wow.
And I think we need to have you back on to kind of do a little bit of your tarot conference on here, because I think it would be great for our audience to hear about, like, how do you pick a deck? And those are great questions for our, like, and what do you do with them once you have one? Because, yeah, we're often, guided or in love with a deck, and then we get it and we go, it's not really ours. We love, sort of have a crush on it, but don't really mesh,
Yeah,
reality.
and
Is
they
it
can
true?
come in and out of our lives. There's all sorts of conversations we can have there. And maybe if even people put in the chat they want me to draw some cards, I can do that too. That would be fine.
Oh yeah,
Another
we always love that.
modality,
It's always fun.
is like
It's
working
always
with
fun.
crystals. So I like to make crystal grids, and I'm an advanced crystal therapist. So doing crystal and energy and doing readings for people using crystal cards, and whatever cards come up are allies waiting to work with the person consciously. So say if they pull the adventuring card, I do the adventuring transmission for them and the
Oh,
teachings that
nice.
go with that. So, after a while, all these different modalities all tend to merge together. It's like all the shamanism training I had too comes up all the time in different ways, right? Elemental space clearing and being trained, formally in ceremony. That all comes in together and it just merges in this beautiful whole, right? And we just present different
Yeah,
facets at different times.
yeah.
Mhm.
We're a whole package, and it's nice to find all the things that call us and how they blend together, right? It's just like our spiritual personality almost. Teresa Warren, do you have any questions for Teresa?
No, I was excited. I agree. There's so many packages, and you're talking about the Akash. Oh my gosh, isn't that the most fun place to learn and play? And
Yeah.
every time you do a reading with someone, it's like there's something new to learn. It's like man, that can never get old. You know what I mean? There's always so much more. So I love how you're bringing that out, that it all melds together into a beautiful package that we have to share with everyone. So I love it.
Oh, lovely.
I,
Absolutely.
so
And so it's with our experiences, we could maybe learn and perceive, like, oh, that's Kuan Yin coming through. Or, oh, that's a block. Guess what? I've had blocks too. Like,
everyone
yeah.
does, right? We're human.
Absolutely.
So, Bex, you have a question
I
for
do.
Teresa.
I do have a question. I have the big question.
Okay.
So, if you had to choose a song to be the theme song of your life, what would it be?
The first song that comes to mind is an all-time favorite song. It's called Long Time Sun, and in particular, the version released by Snatum Kaur, Snatum space Kaur. And I think it's originally written by the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. Maybe it's a country song, but it's a beautiful song of blessing. Like, may the long time sun rain upon you, in like all its glory. And I just
Oh,
love that. It lights me up. I'm getting for those with the eyes to see, you can probably see little sparkles happening.
It's very beautiful. I love that.
ah,
Wow, what a beautiful, loving, supportive show with you today. This has been awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out with us and sharing your gifts.
Oh, the pleasure is mine as well, Bex. And thank you all, and thank everyone for joining us today and sharing this beautiful sacred space together.
Absolutely. And we just want to
thank
share
you.
a real quick who last week's winner was of the Share It Out. Last week's winner is Anthony Costa with Rhonda. So Rhonda's going to contact you and set up that session. So congratulations, Anthony. And this week, if you share it out, whoever shares out the most wins a session with me. So make sure you guys share it out, invite your friends. This has been a really, really beautiful, beautiful show today. So definitely something that's going to help other people in beautiful ways.
Yeah, and we're so excited. So next week, who do we have on next week?
Boggy. We have
Sifu.
Sifu Boggy.
Woohoo.
So
We have
next week,
seafood.
don't drink caffeine. He's
That'll
going to
be
be your caffeine for the day. You get to start your day right. It's a lot of
for
energy.
sure, for sure.
Mhm.
So yeah, if you feel like you're a little bogged down, just you won't be after our show for sure.
Absolutely.
So I just put in the Long Time Sun. I think that's the version you like, and for the YouTube if you want. So please go to our YouTube and subscribe to it. We like that, and like our page, follow our page, and keep up with what we're doing. And we really appreciate all of you coming. And thank you so much, Teresa, for taking the time early Sunday morning on a long weekend to get up early and enjoy your weather, because I know it's gorgeous out there. And have a great weekend, everyone. Thanks
Okay.
so much for joining us.
My heart is filled. Thank you.
Awesome.
Whooshin love.
Thanks.
Whooshin love.